Sarah, I'd like to start with you. What drew you to the character of Meredith other than her affinity for designer shoes?
I thought that Tom had written a beautiful script and a beautiful story about family, and I thought that specifically the role of Meredith was just completely terrifying and challenging, and I thought that she was a wonderful wreck of a human being, and therefore kind of tender, and actually I liked her. And I think what's exceptional about this script, not just my part obviously, but everybody's, is that they are very human. They're complicated people who are real and, you know, are demonstrative in different ways, and I think Tom did such a nice job of creating real people rather than just archetypes, you know, of this sort of evil, severe woman who's cold and withholding, and then this sort of heroic man. I think people are more complicated in this story, and as an actor, it's certainly more interesting to play.
I, too, was very moved by the script and was immediately engaged with it when I started reading it. So, yeah, I mean, I think we all felt very safe within the structure of the material, and so we just had to, you know, figure out how to play it as honestly as possible, and either the joke would carry or, you know, the emotion would carry. I don't know. Rachel,
you have this amazing sense of humor. How does that help you in securing this kind of role?
Oh, I feel like I have to say something funny now. And I'm not going to.
Just laugh.
I've spent all day with Luke.
I've kind of worn out my welcome. I said we were spending Christmas in Yellowstone, and it kind of went downhill from there. I am sorry about that.
It's okay. I forgive you. I was really excited about Amy. I just thought she was so complicated. You know, even you know, if she doesn't have a huge part, she's very complex, and it's just nice to be able to fade into the background a little and take some risks.
It must have been a great treat for all of you to work with Diane Keaton.
Well, first in being a new actor to film, had, you know, preconceptions of what it's like to act for film, you know, as opposed to the stage. With the stage, where you can change every night. But what Diane showed me was that every take was like a different night on stage. It's always something different. She would have all these little choices in a bag right here, and she would just throw it out.
She had a bag.
You wouldn't expect that. It's totally, yeah. It's very stylish.
Very stylish. Not like Sarah Jessica. She brought her stuff to the set in a plastic sack every day. You know, you'd think she'd have some Prada or something, but no, it's in the newspaper.
Ralph's bag.
Yeah, that's right.
That's true.
It was.
I'm frugal.
Now, did you guys film this all in New England, or was it part of it on set?
We did 2 weeks in New York during 2 snowstorms. That scene that he does with Craig Nelson on the
bleachers.
On the bleachers was getting high on the bleachers was a driving blizzard. You know, the film camera never picks up as much snow.
You
as
really
it really
felt
is.
the vibe from the crew, like, get it right. Get it right.
And of course, at the end of the movie, where they're making snow out of cornstarch, I think it was, you can see it all.
It was such a driving snowstorm in New York that Craig and I had to take the train back. And when we got out at Penn Station, it was like, you know, just coming down everywhere. Like, people were kind of screaming, like newspapers were swirling, and Craig wanted to wait in the taxi line. I was like, no, I know the way, come on, let's go. And then it was like into thin air. I got disoriented. I was like, Craig, I'm lost. I'm sorry, I'm lost. So we huddled in a doorway, and then I was trying to like make up for it. I was like, you could bet they'd have had a car for Diane Keaton, man. And he was like, I know. And then I saw a policeman, and I was like, I'm gonna go up, see if he recognizes me. Maybe he'll take us uptown. And I went over and I got up close, and I was like, how you doing? He was like, kind of looked at me. I was like, Craig, he doesn't recognize me. Give it a try. And Craig, to his credit, went over and very nicely knocked on the door. Was like, how you doing? And then the guy just kind of looked at him too. So we walked to him that day.
Beautiful story. The sign language is so eloquent. I learned this just learning it. But the sign for Christmas is that, because it's sort of the top of the wreath, right?
Right.
And Craig, he kind of like is carving it out.
Mango.
You know, it's even in the movie. And so when
Totally
he's shooting, he had
mango.
all these signs that were like, this, and Tom would say, maybe just say this one and get rid of the other. But they left one or two in, and it's such crap. You can see it. It's like, he's just not really wired for it. I thought Diane, on the other hand, had the most
Unbelievable,
beautiful
Diane.
hands and just the beauty of her speech, which we began to understand that was nonverbal. Just her hands are
I was kind
incredible.
of having trouble with it.
Luke was bad,
I was
too.
kind of having trouble with it too, but Craig was worse than I was. So I was like, hey, Craig, how's it going with the sign language? And he was like, almost put my fucking eye out practicing in the trailer.
I think for the most part we were, behaved a little slightly older than juveniles. What did you say?
Slightly older.
No, I think that
Late adolescent.
late adolescent. No, I think there were a couple of occasions that I seem to recall with Luke specifically. In the car when we were supposed to be sleeping.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
Well, I didn't get along with the little kid.
It was bad. It was bad.
We really went head to head. And I'd always say, I'm gonna send you off to your tutor if you don't act nice to me.
No matter what happened, though, Luke somehow always ended up with the little...
On his lap.
Always.
And at one point, I looked over fairly deep into the shooting, and Tom had asked her to put a barrette in his hair. And I thought, this has got to be the last straw.
Well, once the film opens, we hope the film has tremendous success, and we're going to tell all of our friends to repeat the sounding joy that you hear after the film. Ladies and gentlemen, the cast of The Family Stone. Take a bow.